Welcome back to the Ball and Breakfast Podcast. I'm Patrick alongside Wayne, kicking off week 6 along with the wrap up of the division series. This week for baseball. Also, we're moving right into the championship series now for the MLB, and also looking right ahead to week 7, which kicks off on Thursday night. So, we appreciate you guys subscribing to our channel on YouTube. Keep following us on Instagram. Any likes and comments are appreciated there. And, if you're on audio podcasts anywhere, Google, Apple, Anchor, Spotify, leave us a comment, review, etc. We always appreciate it. But, let's dive right into this division series, conclusions. It looked like, for the National League, we had the Padres going over the Dodgers in 4. The Phillies ended up taking care of the Braves also in 4. And then, for the AL side of things, we had the Astros go full sweep on the Mariners. And as of today, in Game 5, the Yankees ended up, taking care of the Guardians 5-1 there. But Wayne, do you have any reaction overall to what we saw throughout the divisional series?
I mean, I feel like every single prediction we made was wrong. But, hey, this is baseball. Gotta love it. It was just, I think we all saw the writing on the wall. It felt like in their first game with the Mariners, they just didn't have that, fortitude, I guess, to get over that Jordan Alvarez homer game winner in the first game and everything. That's just such a momentum killer for them. They just kind of took the reins from there. So, it was kind of sad to see the Guardians go. I feel like everybody in America, besides like New York and like the plethora of Yankee fans just internationally, right, just wanted the Guardians to win, but that just wasn't the case. Yankees pitching, man, you got to hand it to them. They really pulled it off. You always know that the bats for the Yankees always seems like are always going to be there, but the pitching has just been holding off any type of run support. So it's really crazy to kind of see like the Yankees becoming like a pitching dominant team like this. And I think it just goes to show kind of like their pitching coach and everything's been able to do their investments towards the pitching staff. Garrett Cole, definitely he's a stud, but the rest of the crew, the bullpen, they've been kind of like, I think I was like kind of skeptical about the bullpen, but they've been really good. They really kind of held leads, for the most part, basically, and, making games not as exciting. So, good on the Yankees bullpen for, I think, stepping up, despite not having, I guess, their full staff going forth. But yeah, I think it'll be, a fun series, with the Yankees going against the Astros.
Definitely. This is the kind of the epic rematch everybody's been looking to kind of get into ever since the cheating scandal was made public. The Yankees obviously had their own thoughts about that. We are flashing forward about 5 years, since that time, but in the same sense, I feel like there's a good amount of core on both sides that, there probably is some lingering animosity to kind of take care of. And for both sides, they're going to be extremely motivated. The Yankees for getting their redemption, sort of say, and then for the Astros to kind of prove to the world, like, every year since they've won the championship, we're still good. We're still in this thing, and we're trying to get a legitimate one. So, I'm looking forward to it. And, like you said, disappointing to see the Guardians and the Mariners go down. Mariners in epic fashion, just with, those home runs by Alvarez in both games. And then Pena, driving that deep shot in 18 innings is just crushing blows, like one after the other. The Guardians actually put up, really great fight. I thought after the Game 3 walk-off base hit, they were, primed to take the whole series. And, I think Josh Naylor got a little bit ahead of himself last night by rocking the baby, even though, his home run wasn't even a go-ahead or a game winner. It was just like, you got to get a little bit smarter in those moments, in my opinion. I feel like that's karma, at its finest. And, we've sounded off in the past about the White Sox, talking trash to, teams in back-to-back years, the Astros and Guardians, in 21, 22, and it just comes back to bite you. So, kind of roll around the bases. I think we've had this discussion too about walk-off homers or, showboating a little bit. I think there's a time and place and there's a way you go about, getting your excitement out, but that's just like, I don't know. That was got pretty ugly, and good on the Yankees for not retaliating or doing anything, because they totally could have. But yeah, no, I think this series coming up, Yankees Astros, is going to be just a big like boxing match on both sides. I see the Astros actually taking this one. Surprisingly, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say 5 games. I love their rotation, their bullpen as well, and they're just hitting the lights out of the ball right now.
Yeah, I would probably go the Astros too. So yeah, I'll pick Astros. I think rotation, I mean, they kind of have it all. And like I mentioned, I did have questions, I think, with the Yankees bullpen more so. It just seems like the Astros are more full strength at the moment. So, in playoff baseball, it always helps to have those things. So yeah, I'm picking the Astros too. And I'll look forward to seeing, I think, Jose Altuve, who I think has like the same metrics as I do. Like we're both like, I think, the same height and like weight. So he just has, bigger calves and everything, and all the hand-eye coordination in the world. But yeah, Astros, I think they just have a better, I think, more balanced lineup, and then just more overall pitching in the bullpen, like the full capacity arms, I think, to go forth and beat the Yankees in this series.
Yeah. How do you feel about the National League, just divisional series, and then what's coming out for the championship series?
Man, the Phillies hitting has just been taking storm. I feel like I think that kind of like alleviates some of the anxieties that I think a lot of people feel about their bullpen, because it's like, oh, hey, the bullpen, or hey, bullpen, we're giving you like a 5-run lead or whatever in like 6th, 7th inning, 4th. It's like, okay, we can take care of that. We can do that, and they've really stepped up to the challenge there. Sure, I think they've had some scary moments here and there. I think there was that one game where they did kind of give the lead and everything, but I think the Phillies, they seem to have a little bit of magic. Whatever it's happening with Thompson and everything, just been able to like resonate with them and kind of motivate them going forth. It's not to say that the Padres, I don't think, have anything, or they might not show up, but I just feel like the Phillies have some sort of magic.
Yeah. Both teams are similar in that their rotations, are pretty, top heavy. I would say the Padres are a little bit deeper in their rotation than the Phillies. I think that, bullpens, both had their question marks throughout the year. I think the Phillies, ticked down a little bit lower on that, but offensively have a ton of star power on both sides and have been hitting the ball pretty well. Because they kind of match up in terms of, their momentum throughout these playoffs and just the energy coming off of both teams. I feel like I just want to take the roster that I trust a little bit more here. I'm going to pick the Padres, and I think I'll go Padres in 6 over the Phillies. But I think that this series will be more competitive than the other, in my opinion. And, I think, the teams that'll end up representing both leagues in the World Series, it's going to turn out to be pretty star-studded World Series, no matter who ends up getting in there. So I think it'll be, a really fun year for baseball as we move forward here.
Yeah, for sure. And could you imagine also if like Aaron Judge, if he were to actually go to the World Series too? Hypothetically, I think we both picked the Astros and everything, but like hypothetically, if he were to go to the World Series, like what kind of a season is that now, right? Breaking the home run record, possibly winning MVP, or most likely going to be winning MVP, in my opinion. And then going from there. So I think it's just a great season for baseball. But I think the Padres have probably a better squad, but then like a full roster more so. But then, yeah, I don't know. For me, at least with the Phillies, there's some sort of magic that I think is happening with their bullpen and staff. I don't know what it is, but they were able to withstand, I think, the Braves and their lineup. I think the Padres, even with Soto and then not having Tatis, I certainly think that might be a factor. But that Phillies squad, they have a lot of mojo, I think, going for them. So yeah, I'll pick them. Probably, I'm gonna go with 6. Actually, I'll go with 6 there.
Sounds good. I've had some weird, personal reaction to some of the things I've been hearing about the new format for the playoffs and stuff. There's a lot of critics and analysts out there that are just ripping this whole thing apart because, the Mets, the Dodgers, almost the Yankees today didn't advance. And, how, if you win 110 games or what have you, that should entitle you to being, in the championship series or in the World Series almost automatically. And it's like, I think they're starting to get, upset about the fact that there's a 3-game set to open up the wild card series. And then it's only a 5-game set for the divisional series. And it's like, I don't know, personally, I'm like, we've had the divisional series 5-game slate since I can remember, since the wild card era probably began, so I guess it's just like, yeah, you can be upset about the fact that the Mets, dropped the ball and the Dodgers were down 3-1 in a 5-game set. But like, even down 3-1, there's no guarantee that they come back in a 7-game set and, take the next 3. So to me, it's just like people complaining about these teams blowing it. But I just kind of look at it as like those teams just straight up blew it. So instead of getting mad at how like the format is and trying to push everything to 7 games and, redacting some games off the regular season just to like fit all this in, scheduling wise, it's just like, to me, it's a crock, but I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
Yeah, it's a crock. Well, what's the saying? Everybody has opinions are like assholes, right? Everybody's got one. So
and they all stink.
Yeah, and they all stink. They all stink. They all smell of it. So no, it just doesn't make sense. It's people complaining, same thing about like people complaining about celebrating homers or whatever, bat flips and all that. So it's just people just being mad at things for the sake of being mad at things. So yeah, I mean, I think the format's fine. Like, I think it makes the games more meaningful, in my opinion, right? It's like, okay, and with regards to those rotations too, like, yeah, I think as the games are becoming less about the starting pitcher more so, it's becoming more of a bullpen game. I think it's a great strategy in terms of like, okay, how's this going to look like in a 5-game series, right? Where okay, I just really kind of have to worry about my 3 starting pitchers, and then just figuring out, okay, the 4 and 5 people in the rotation, they're basically the bullpen long relief just in case one of the pitchers get rocked or something like that in the first couple innings. So I think all that kind of is interesting and good for the game overall. It keeps things moving, keeps things flowing, as opposed to like having, okay, maybe this guy well, we're going to give this game away, so to speak, because we want to preserve the rest of the arms in the bullpen or something like that. It's like, no, every game is meaningful. Every inning is essentially meaningful. So yeah, I think it's fine. It's just people complaining.
Yeah, and like, what about the NBA play-in series, or the fact that football is just a 1-game playoff every single round? I mean, like, so it's just, I don't know. It just seems like people are just up in arms about really nothing here. And I mean, we can put this one to bed, at least from both of us. But anyways, I hope that doesn't, pour any water on, the teams that are in the mix still, even if they're from markets that nobody cares about. I think there are some good markets left standing here. If Cleveland would have beat the New York Yankees, I think that was the other one that people, would have been upset about, a Cleveland San Diego potential World Series. Like, I don't give a crap. I mean, I'm just hoping these fan bases get to see their team in it, and these players get to, go for it all.
Yeah, I don't care about ratings. I care about good baseball, right? Like, who cares if the owner gets, the billionaire owner gets a little bit richer? Like, I don't care. So, the salary is already set. They're going to get some sort of TV revenue. I'm sure some financial person, accountant or whatever, has done some sort of financial modeling on all that. So I don't care. So yeah, let if it's a few more games less, that's fine, as long as they're good baseball games and things are exciting. So I think that's all we can ask for fans. Everybody else is just full of themselves, complaining about stuff, so yeah. Got
it. Well, I think we'll, put a pin in baseball, at least until our next episode, see where these championship series go. Maybe we have a World Series in view, but in any case, we'll transition over here to week 6, go with our takeaways as we did last week for the first time. Wayne, if you want to kick it off with your first one from week 6, we're happy to hear it.
Jets, Jets. I told you about it. I think this is like 3rd game in a row that they won. I mean, they're firing on all cylinders. I feel like, maybe except like Zach Wilson, isn't necessarily playing like Patrick Mahomes or something like that, but he's still playing solid. He's not really making too many mistakes like he did last year. He's playing within the offense. The team is very much relying on the run more so, which is totally fine for a second-year player. Nothing wrong with that. Kind of going, a little bit more of that Jalen Hurts type of route. And then, year 3, maybe they get some veteran people on the offensive side. Like that's usually how it goes. And then, you can progress from there. But they certainly do have enough offensive weapons overall. Breece Hall definitely, and a lot of people picking him up if he already hasn't been picked up. His fantasy stock definitely has risen with the game he's had. And they still have some young wide receivers there with Moore and Garrett Wilson. Okay offensive line. They're doing a decent job, I would say. But that defense, they're just making plays. Quinnen Williams definitely is, having himself like a Pro Bowl type of season. Sauce Gardner, I think a lot of people, I predicted him as Rookie of the Year. A lot of people are calling it now, and I'm like, I was ahead of you. I know it's kind of between him and Tariq Woolen as like the top cornerbacks, but I do love that he wore the cheese head and when he was walking out. Like that is a stud move right there. So he really puts the sauce on the cheese there. So very much appreciated that. I think all the Bears fans are like, man, that's like our favorite cornerback or whatever now. So just a great overall defense. The holding the Packers to like only 10 points. Make sure that the Packers didn't get any continuity, I think, on the offensive side. Well, on the offensive side, they had some trick plays here and there. I think Bears had like a nice 20-yard like reverse in there. So really like the play calling, playing within the offense in their own capabilities, not turning over the ball, and then just great solid defense. And hey, great. That's, I think, great overall strategy for them to win. So
yeah, it was pretty funny that Alan Lazard smacked it off of Sauce Gardner's head at the end, and he was basically just like, yeah, I don't take any offense at it. He was just having a good time. So it was all in fun and stuff like that. So good that there's some lighthearted people in this world. But no, it's impressive, and they're riding a wave here. I think they even made Stephen A's top 5 list today as far as like power rankings for the NFL, which is nuts, but believable at this point. I mean, if you're going to put away teams on the road like the Green Bay Packers, I mean, why not? And it's just going to come down to, I think, how far Zach Wilson can really go this year, coming off of injury, only in his second year, still unproven. But the defense has been there. I like that running game a lot. They've got obviously a ton of weapons, like you mentioned. So, it all falls on Zach Wilson. I feel like, as far as managing the game, if he can go above and beyond that, then this could be a good, surprising maybe playoff team. They're trending in that direction right now. So, we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And he definitely has the capabilities. He's shown it that he can make plays. So it's like, and they do have a lot of playmakers. So if this team makes the playoffs, I think, which I like, again, the way they're playing, I can totally see that. So yeah. Cool. Who's your next?
Giants, Giants. They are now 5-1, tearing it up in the NFC East. Huge win over the Ravens this weekend. They were down 20-10 with 6 minutes to go. Daniel Jones ended up finding tight end Daniel Bellinger for a touchdown. And with less than 2 minutes to go, Saquon Barkley got over the pay dirt, line there for a touchdown to put them up 24-20, take care of the Ravens at home, which I don't think anybody was really predicting, especially when they went down, by the score that they did leading into the fourth. It's just the resolve of this team. I mean, Wig Martindale, like you were saying, obviously put together probably a pretty decent scheme with Lamar, holding them to only 20 points. You can tell from the Ravens side that they're pretty, dependent at this point on Mark Andrews in the passing game. It seems like, with Bateman not there and Duvernay not putting up a huge line, it's like they're kind of rummaging around for some wide receiver help. And I think I read today that they picked up Deshaun Jackson to be kind of a guy who can stretch the field a little bit for them. So I don't know if this is more Ravens struggles or if this is just the Giants kind of stepping out and executing in the right way and just kind of willing themselves to a victory here yet again. It's like I don't really know what to think or what to believe yet about this team. I'm just kind of in this mind frame until they take down another big opponent. I'm kind of like they have the same I don't know, capability to me of like going on a 3 or 4 game losing streak too. So like, I don't know how to feel. I just think it's like pretty cool that, you know, in Dable's rookie year here as head coach, he's really, you know, putting respect on his name and onto the Giants name, who've been just an awful franchise for the last handful of years. And, you know, it's good to see some new blood in it. And you still don't think that much about Daniel Jones as a quarterback. I mean, threw for only like 170 yards and, you know, didn't throw any picks, which was big, but just kind of still waiting to see, you know, what other kind of dynamic they can build outside of a Saquon Barkley-led offense. Again, if that guy goes down, I just don't see this team being very competitive, but that's just my take.
Yeah, for sure. They're very much playing kind of like, you know, old school Chicago Bears football in a way, like, you know, where the quarterback really doesn't make a mistake. They give it to the running back, you know, have a solid offensive line, and then their defense is just stud, you know, just play after play. But yeah, like, you know, Lamar had that interception at the end of the game there that really kind of sealed the deal. He didn't have to make that game, or make that play. But I feel like the Giants, like they're all, I think they're similar to the Bears, old school Bears. Like they won't make the mistake, but they'll push and make sure on the defensive side that you will make a mistake and put you in position to do that, which Lamar did at the end of the game there. You know, throwing that interception when he really ought to have just thrown it away, but you know, he wanted to make that play. And I mean, that just goes to kind of show, like, you know, where the Ravens are at, and then also kind of where the Giants are at this point, where Giants, hey, we see an opportunity here, we'll take it. And then they made a play there, and then Saquon Barkley ran in for a touchdown afterwards. So yeah, it really just goes to show it's just great coaching, I think, overall from Dable and Martingale.
Yeah, well, we'll see. You know, Giants have a lot of big opponents left to go in their own division there. So we'll see where they end up, but they could definitely be a playoff team. Curious about the Ravens. They'll have to get back on track here moving into week 7. But Wayne, did you have another takeaway?
Yeah. The one I have here written is Bills need to play Khalil Shakir more. You know, I love this guy coming out of Boise State. Saw that, I think he ran a 4.3 or low 4.4s. You know, and he caught like every ball at the combine too, caught like most of his balls as well in Boise. So like he clearly has the talent. And then, you know, going in Buffalo, I thought he had a great opportunity with, it seemed like the Bills wanted that other kind of slot receiver, which I think Khalil Shakir definitely fits in really well. You know, Isaiah McKenzie had a drop in the end zone for a touchdown there, and I'm like, I don't think Khalil Shakir would have dropped that. And he had a great week last week as well, with 75 yards and a touchdown. So, and he just really knows how to position himself well. Doesn't, especially in his zone defense, really knows how to play that seam well, and kind of just get open there. So I want him to get more touches. I'm not even like a Bills fan or a Josh Allen fan, but I feel like that's just such an unutilized thing. And I actually went on Twitter and I saw, hey, Bills Mafia, they're on my side too. So I think that's one thing going forth. With the Bills, if they can have, Diggs, Gabe Davis, and then Khalil Shakir, if he kind of performs what he did in the last week and gets those reps, I think that is such a stud offense. And a great overall team win, I think, also against the Chiefs there too. So,
yeah, it seems like Diggs is their, every down receiver. He's going to gobble up the majority of the targets. You got Gabe Davis, kind of like your big play, deep threat type of guy, kind of penciled in there. And then Devin Singletary is just kind of getting like a bunch of screen passes and stuff and doing the short game work too. And every week it seems like Dawson Knox, or, maybe it was an Isaiah McKenzie. Maybe it's now supposed to be Shakir, but it's kind of like, I don't know. It seems like, the third option role, fourth option role is kind of like up for grabs at this point. So, if he can get more work there, I mean, I'm sure he's due for it. Definitely saw some big drops from McKenzie, and I think he was coming off concussion protocol, something of the sort. But in any sense, the offense continues to roll there. To come off big against the Chiefs on the road. I mean, it's another huge victory for the Bills as they kind of like snowball their way to hopefully maybe a championship appearance here. But they're playing the part for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people predicted the Bills to go to the Super Bowl. And with that wide receiver core, and if they do get, I know there's always been that talk about Christian McCaffrey or whomever. I don't know if it makes sense. I think they're kind of fine, and I think that continuity is good for them. If they're gonna cop up like a first or second rounder or something like that, like I don't know. I feel like running backs these days, it's okay. It's okay. You got Josh Allen. You got enough running backs there. I think you're fine. Keep that first, second rounder, build for your future a little bit more. So, but great win. I think this is definitely a new rivalry in football. Everybody talked about the whole Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, like who's going to overtake them. These two teams, I feel like.
Definitely. For my next one, I had the Steelers going over the Bucks. Completely confusing game to me. Just with what was going on with Pittsburgh last week and how anemic the offense looked and how much they seemed to quit against the Bills. They come right back and they won 20-18 over the Super Bowl favorite for the NFC almost going into this year with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. And Tom Brady had 243 passing yards. He had a TD and a pick. It's a very middling performance from him. He went to Robert Kraft's wedding that Friday and kind of missed a big walkthrough practice for them, and it was after kind of missing some pre-year workouts and things like that. Just kind of, I think everyone's starting to like wonder whether or not he's fully engaged, fully committed, locked in, or if his age is getting the best of him at this point. Not ready to completely discredit Tom at this point. I feel like him and Aaron Rodgers are kind of in similar spots. They're both 3-3. They're both, not doing what I think a lot of people would expect them to do as perennial MVP candidates. But in the same sense, they're those kinds of guys. They're, the start of the year is important, but in the same sense, maybe we flash forward into November or December and you'll start to see them come out and you'll start to get things rolling in their, kind of put together their A games. And, I think both sides, their offenses, Packers and the Bucks at this point are kind of like trying to still figure everything out. Good running games, but in the same sense, it's like, who do we really go to if guys are banged up or if we're just like not in the zone together? But again, I for the Steelers to come out, Najee Harris got a touchdown. I think I shared this with Wayne, but made a big trade in fantasy, got rid of Najee Harris, Gabe Davis, and Tyler Lockett, and got Kenny Walker, Michael Pittman, and Curtis Samuel. So kind of a huge swing for the fences there with Kenny Walker and Pittman. But in the same sense, just expect nothing from Najee Harris at this point moving forward, just based on how bad that line's been. And he's been kind of beat up. He didn't get a lot of yardage in this one. Kenny Pickett went down with a concussion, and good old Mitch Trubisky was back under center and willed him to a victory with a late Chase Claypool touchdown. But it seems kind of funny because this feels like the type of game Mitch would get the call and succeed in, and it's like the second you make him the guy and you put expectations on him, it's like he's going to find the bench once again. So maybe this is just his role moving forward. You put him in for a big spot start and he feels, brings in that new energy or gets like a, revived in some sense and can pull out a W, but still have no expectations of the Steelers going forward. I think it's going to be a pretty bad football team.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like they really need to reinforce that to Mitch Trubisky if he's gonna be playing for any extended amount of time, because that's always been Mitch's MO. I feel like is whenever there is expectations, he kind of just he doesn't take chances. I feel like I don't know if it's like the Chicago Bears fans or whoever being all grouchy whenever he throws a pick or something like that. But it's like, he throws a pick. Okay, he's the young quarterback. He's learning. But I feel like for him, he just whenever that happens, whenever something like negative happens, he really just it really gets to his head. And yeah, this was like as good of a game as Mitch Trubisky can have, I think, against a pretty stud defensive squad. So yeah, if I think he even said in the post game, he felt like he was loose. Felt like he was free. That's I think when you see the best Mitch is when he just doesn't care. he's just having fun. And I think some people say, oh, it looks like he's having fun out there. So if Mitch can just have fun, just play loose, hey, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. yeah, just move on and get the next one type of thing. There's a lot of talent on that for the playmaking side, at least. Maybe not as much on the offensive side on that Steelers squad. So yeah, definitely. I think with in terms of running back, wide receivers, probably better than anything he's had in Chicago. So if he can just get the ball to them basically, then I think there's a lot of upside, I think, for Trubisky. But yeah, better coaching staff hopefully too. So, but yeah, like you were saying with the Buccaneers, I think they just have no soul right now. I think there's so many distractions happening with Brady, his divorce, not being fully in and committed. It almost looks like that. It's just hard not to look at, the soul of the squad and think like, oh, there's all these other things happening. But like you were saying, at the end of the season, you throw out all this other fun stuff, all the drama, and anything can happen. And hey, it's good that they're at least getting it out now. If it continues on, that's definitely where it could be a problem. But this Bucks team is just, I think, way too good for that to happen. For too many veterans too. So, but yeah, we'll see. I definitely think this. I don't want to say it was a fluke game, but definitely much more of Trubisky playing out of his mind a little bit, playing free and loose, and then some things just happening with the Buccaneers at the moment.
For sure. Your next takeaway?
Yeah, my next takeaway. I will go with Panthers moving on from Robbie Anderson. He had a little bit of a feud there, right? I think there was some sort of incident or altercation with Robbie Anderson, the wide receiver coach, I believe, and then the coach had to be like, "Hey, you can't do that," and then just kicked him out. So they traded him, which I'm like, wow, this is a fast moving. This is almost like a fantasy football trade. I was like, oh, some crap happened here or whatever, and then I'm just gonna press a couple buttons and done. So just got traded to the Cardinals. Since Cardinals, they lost Marquise Brown. They are getting Hopkins back, so for whatever reason, the Cardinals always feel like they always have to have those two highly paid, highly compensated, highly notarized type of wide receivers there. Hopkins is going to be back. Robbie Anderson is going to be joining him there. So it'll be interesting what's going to happen there. And then, Marquise Brown looks like he could be done for the year. I don't think there's been exact wording on that yet. But joining with Kyler Murray, who, if he can again play to his potential, like there'll definitely be some solid numbers there. They are a passing team more so, I think, these days, especially if Hopkins is going to be out there. So I think that they'll be getting some reps. So if I'm a Robbie Anderson person or looking for a wide receiver, that could be an interesting play. I don't know, very interesting things that are happening, I think, there. And I think it also helps that the Panthers, I think this season's kind of lost for them. So they're like, okay, let's just get rid of some players here and hopefully get one of those stud quarterbacks for the future.
Yeah. I mean, Robbie Anderson's not good enough to kind of make a scene like that and get away with it. I mean, at this point, they have nothing to play for. In the same sense, it's like, I think Jalen Rose made a point about it. It's like they handed you a mega deal, before last season. And, with that comes responsibilities, comes leadership, comes accountability. And if you're not, doing the right things in the right times or helping your team win or, being a good teammate overall, being a leader, you can be sure that they're going to try to strip you of that contract, whether they're going to cut you or whether they're going to make a trade just to get whatever they can for you at some point. So I think they got a 6th and a 7th for him. I would consider that a win if I was the Carolina Panthers and their GM, staff and everything like that, ownership. But, not to say that Robbie Anderson, might not have some life left in him as a wide receiver 3 at this point. I feel like Marquise Brown, the word was, I heard this morning, 6 weeks. I've got him on my fantasy team. He's very important to my imaginary squad. So wishing him a speedy recovery here. I do actually think this will be an interesting time to take a look at Rondell Moore. I think he brings a lot of what Marquise Brown does, and now he's got an opportunity to do so. I mean, with Anderson coming over and probably having to learn, the playbook and getting comfortable with Murray, Hopkins coming right back in, unless they're just going to feed him the rock, I think he might, need a little time to get acquainted, with Murray and with playing football again. So, if I was a, savvy, manager out there for fantasy purposes, I'd be kind of taking a look at Rondale and either swinging like a very low end trade for him or maybe just picking him up outright if he's available. So that's my take on that whole situation. But I definitely think Carolina is better off, and for Arizona, man, they need to start putting something together here, because Kingsbury's on the route to getting fired pretty soon.
What is happening with DJ Moore, right? Like, I feel like, do the Panthers just not have any wide receivers? I mean, they don't really have a quarterback really thrown to either of them. So, but yeah, it is such an interesting year, I think, for Panthers and Panthers fans, and I think they're all kind of like, yeah, who's going to be our quarterback in this draft? Is it going to be Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud? Who knows? So, yeah. If you're a Panthers fan out there, good luck. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff happening, I feel like, here.
Yeah. I mean, this might be good for them. I mean, to grab one of those young, talented arms in the draft and kind of get out of this tweener stage. It was like, they're underperforming while kind of being in the tweener stage with, Darnold and Mayfield, and, maybe they're able to get both off the books going into next season. But in general, it'll be a good reset for them this year. I expect them to lose a lot of football games, and we'll just have to see.
Cool. Yeah. And what's your next take?
So my last take is going to be the Colts Jaguars over in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. I was actually there this weekend with my brother and his son, my nephew. So we were watching some football, went downtown, just had a great time, but was really impressed with the stadium first to start with. I mean, I actually didn't know it was a retractable roof. I just thought it was a dome capped and kind of static in that way. But they opened it up for the game, and it was about 65 degrees out. So it's just kind of nice. I mean, brought in some sunlight, some fresh air and stuff like that. But great environment, really great. Replay scoreboards are both on both ends of the stadium. Great sound system. I just felt like that was a full out great experience, just being in that stadium and kind of, seeing a game there. I think it was maybe just a handful of stadiums I've been to, a lot of them in the NFC North, but just fun to be there. And the game itself, really got off to an interesting start. The Jaguars went ahead early. Trevor Lawrence was doing a lot with his feet, which I actually wasn't really prepared for. I didn't know he had that kind of scramble ability in him, and he was just making it happen. I mean, he was scrambling for first downs. He, took a couple over the line for touchdowns personally. And, in general, the Jaguars were running all over the Colts defense early on. I think JaMychal Hasty had like a 60-yard breakout run on a 3rd and 2. So he just found a seam and, did like a little HB counter and got, 60 yards out of it for a score. And, we got to about, late second quarter, and I was like, man, this might just be a Jaguars upset here. And, what's kind of crazy is Ryan kind of stopped playing conservative. They stopped feeding Deion Jackson, playing, dink and dunk, and started letting it rip. And I was like, Pittman was just all over it. I think he had 16 targets for 13 receptions and 100 plus yards in his fantasy debut for my team. Was very enthused by that performance, but he was controlling the middle of the field in the short game. And then they were going to guys like Paris Campbell. They were dumping it off to Deion Jackson for passes at one point. They got Jelani Woods involved as a tight end, but it was like he just started throwing darts and, deep and short passes and stuff like that. And, really started to put up points for the team. And, toward the end of the game, the Jaguars got a big touchdown in the fourth quarter to put them up 26-21. And the Colts kind of just came roaring back and ended up having a late play in the game that essentially, I take that back. I think it was 27-26 when the Jaguars went up, and then when the Colts took it back, they had the option of kicking a field goal, or what ended up happening was Ryan, dropped back, and on third down, I think everybody was expecting like a short little slant pass or maybe a little dump off or maybe even a handoff just to like get him into field goal territory, but he went for it all. He just went for a deep pass to Alec Pierce and hit him for the touchdown. And it was like, it shocked everybody because everybody was expecting them to play, for the field goal and the win there, but they just went for it all and got the touchdown. So awesome game by Matt Ryan, by the Colts. They looked like a completely different ball team in the second half. And, Jaguars gave it a late try at the end with, a bunch of trickeration stuff. I was thinking maybe they'd throw a Hail Mary to see if they have it, but in any sense, it wasn't enough. But that's the kind of the takeaway. I think last week we talked about the Colts, and you were talking about a huge road win, something that could like catalyze this team, but completely different football team that we watched like at home this week, because I feel like the team we saw on Thursday night last week was the team I saw in the first couple quarters, and who knows what this new team might be if they can start to build some chemistry in that passing game. And, Ryan can just throw 50 plus, passes every game and kind of, hopefully have a ground game that works behind him. But like, if they get Jonathan Taylor back and open up this passing game, I mean, they could be an exciting team to watch in the second half here.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with you. I think I saw something there. I think there was just the chemistry. It seemed like it was developing between Ryan and Pierce, and he definitely took that, like you said, like had that touchdown throw to kind of seal the win there. So, a lot of people are cheering on Pierce. I wanted the Bears to draft Pierce, not to keep on shooting on Gordon in that pick and everything like that. But, Pickens, Pierce, like, those guys are having, I think, pretty solid rookie seasons. And, with Matt Ryan tossing to Alec Pierce too, I think that definitely helps, having that veteran quarterback developing a relationship, knowing, certain routes, knowing, hey, wide receiver, please be here and I'll get you the ball. Like having that type of veteran leadership, I think definitely helps. So I really like that the chemistry that I'm seeing between Ryan and the wide receivers, and Jelani Woods too. Seems like, tight ends, it definitely takes like a couple weeks for them usually to develop a little bit more so. So I really like their offense overall. And then, if they can add Jonathan Taylor and he's, 80%, 90% of what he was kind of like last year, that is going to be, I think, a tough team to beat. Even if they don't have Shaq Leonard on the defensive side, that's definitely like the one thing that is kind of up in the air there. I think he had like nose surgery recently. There's a lot of question marks, I think, on the defensive side, not having their, leader, their highest paid linebacker in the NFL. So if, without him, they maybe are limits on the defensive side, but offensively, that's going to be, I think, a fun team to watch, I think, going forth. So, a lot of, I think, positive headwinds, I think, going for them there. So, yeah, cool. And then I think then for mine to round it off, I am team Zappy, the Patriots, man. I think I've called them the no sex Patriots, referring to their anemic offense, not their owner going to Florida. But, like, it's crazy how Bill Belichick knows how to, work with the offensive coordinator and develop a game plan to develop a young quarterback. Man, do I wish a certain team could do that? Like, you don't just like make them run around and just like toss bombs in fly routes and stuff like that. You got to dump it off a little bit. You got to build their confidence up. You got to throw slants, which the Bears never do. I'm always going to make it about the Bears. But like use the middle of the field, like use the different options. Another like quarterback we didn't talk about, but like, Russell Wilson, right? There's a number of instances where Russell Wilson missed wide open wide receivers down the middle, and he either got sacked or he was looking ahead and was like trying to throw a bomb up there. But it's like, no, just, Bill Belichick probably yelled at, Zappy during practice, like, hey, Rook, like, I get there's, somebody out there that looks really, really nice and trying to throw a bomb out there, but there's a tight end or a slot wide receiver or running back right in the middle of the field, wide open. He's going to take that football from like the 5 yards out, and then he's going to run it probably for another 5 yards for the first down. That's better than like thinking you can actually like pass it into like double coverage somewhere up out there, right? So I think like that type of thinking really builds up the confidence. Zappy had a hell of a game, like 300 some odd yards or whatever. It's like and I get this whole idea with the offensive line for Justin Fields, and hey, comparison, thief of joy or whatever, but it's like, Justin Fields has been able to get out of, the pocket. I think I read some stat. He had like the longest, like from snap to getting rid of the ball. I think it's like an average of like 3.5 seconds or something like that, which is like highest in the NFL. But it's like the game plan isn't, the wide receiver routes aren't building off towards, getting simply open like in a zone coverage or running down the middle or anything like that, making things a little bit easier. Whereas, like do the Patriots have more offensive talent than the Bears right now? Like, I don't think so. Like, I think that's a hard thing to grasp there. So there's a lot of things I think that the Patriots are doing, and I think Zappy just looked great out there. It's hard not to. Again, I don't know how he does it, but the Patriots just know how to turn out young quarterbacks and knows how to play within the systems for them and play to their strengths. And then, yeah, great that they also have Tyquan Thornton, who looked pretty good out there. Haven't seen he was the wide receiver that ran like a 4.2 out there at the combine, but haven't seen him like do a flyer up. But I think a lot of teams know that he's out there, that he's just gonna gun it, and then now he's like, okay, maybe I'll kind of like how a Hill, how he evolved like from just doing the fly routes to like, okay, maybe I'll do a hook now and then change up that route tree from there. So I think I think the Patriots found themselves finally a wide receiver, possibly for the future here. So yeah, I think my takeaway is that Zappy, look out for this guy. Like, he looked pretty good out there, so he might be taking away that first round pick player, Mac Jones. So yeah.
That's the big question. It's like, what kind of leash will they give Mac Jones? And especially when you got a guy like Zappy, who I felt like even at the draft was getting some buzz around him. Like when the Patriots grabbed him, I think the analysts made like a, gasp for like, ooh, that's a really good pick, especially for a guy like Belichick. So he's definitely banking on both of his opportunities, and he might have a couple more weeks to prove himself. So, we'll see where this goes, but he was definitely spreading the ball around, getting a lot of different pieces and parts involved. But even in the backfield, it's just Ramondre Stevenson getting his opportunity to be, just the lead back. I'm glad that they decided to give him the lion's share of the carries instead of, splitting time with some other no-namer, something like that. Just give him an opportunity to go, old school Corey Dillon on folks. And he just seems like he's up for the challenge, and he's putting up, some massive, yardage numbers and stuff like that week over week. So, now that Damian Harris is gone for a bit, this might be a good opportunity for him to, step out. But, to go into Cleveland and win the game 38-15, I mean, that's no joke. I mean, we were talking about the Browns being a team that, could have a, top 7 type roster, minus Deshaun Watson. But in the same sense, they were off to a decent start themselves, and to just be kind of embarrassed in their, home yard like that. I mean, that speaks volumes on where the Patriots are taking their team this year. I mean, they're now 500 and trending upward.
Yeah, I mean, that offense, I think everybody knew that they were going to have a solid defense, like, most Bill Belichick type of teams. But then it's like, okay, offensive, are they able to move the ball? Obviously, the run game is going to be kind of where everybody's focused on. But then, yeah, Zappy threw 34 times. Again, he's a rook. I get they probably have like a better offensive line. But like I was saying, I think the Bears also have like the best pass win rate too in the NFL. It's like, there's so many things like, so many data points saying that like Justin Fields just can't dump off the ball. Like, dump the ball, go for the simple throw. Why is it always the home run? Or like, he's like the Adam Dunn, I feel like, of NFL quarterbacks. It's either a home run or a strikeout or something like that. It's like, choose the simple play sometimes. Like, yeah, it's boring, but sometimes boring wins. Like Tom Brady proved that a bunch. Where, yeah, like there were times where he just threw the ball away, or got rid of the ball just to make sure that he didn't get a sack, and then that led to a field goal. Like little plays like that, I think mount, and I feel like that's just where Justin Fields needs to work on a little bit more. Along with just a lot of young quarterbacks. But yeah, Zappy, was able to pass to like 8 different wide receivers or whatever. And I think 4 of them had 4 catches, right? That's just not, I think, in the Fields' realm at this point. So yeah, again, not to be all comparison about, young quarterbacks here, but I feel like there's just a lot of things on the Bears side that a lot of Bears fans just, in my opinion, are just stupid about kind of defending Justin Fields, again, like this messiah about stuff. It's like, no, he's making a lot of mistakes, and he really needs to get better at it. And the Bears also need to game plan better to develop him. And here's proof, like, things need to happen, I think. But yeah, kudos to Zappy. Hope he wins the job, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, we'll be able to compare him on Monday as they square off for
yes,
a riveting primetime game between two very below average teams. It's like I don't know. That'd probably be if there was a takeaway 3B for me. It's just like, can we just get two teams that'll just like go into a shootout here in one of these primetime games? Because I'm so like sick and tired of sitting back and wasting like 2-3 hours, watching two teams trade field goals and go 3 and outs. It's just been pretty painful for us as viewers of the game.
It's so sad. No, yeah. And I think I was reading, was it Jeff Bezos paid like, was it $70 million for that game or something like that to like advertise or to have it on Amazon Prime? It's like, man, that's such a way. I mean, if you combine both games, it's like, yeah, $140 million, right? So that's just nuts. I don't know what the metrics are for all that, or like the business advocacies and everything in there, or like what the are they getting more activity? But that's from a game perspective, it looks pretty bad. But yeah,
I mean, that's a lot of Chicago hot dogs foregone just to put that on Amazon Prime. So shame on you, Jeff Bezos. You should just throw a huge party for the world with Chicago hot dogs on the house instead.
Yeah, or just give us $1 million each. Yeah, we'll be cool with that too. I don't know. Yeah,
fair enough. Do you have any final thoughts, takeaways from this week's episode?
I mean, I think I'm excited for the baseball. I'm looking right now. We are, shooting on a Tuesday, October 18th. Looks like the Phillies are up 2-0 at the moment. But yeah, I think I'm excited for baseball. And I think it'll be a fun championship series. A lot of these teams, I don't think we didn't pick much of them. I think I doubted the Yankees. I think, I had some hesitancies about the Astros, but I felt like that they were going to be positioned here. But yeah, I think we were both doubting the Phillies and the Padres a little bit. And it just goes to show, I think, baseball is just a romantic sport overall and unpredictable. But it'll be, I think, a fun series overall. So.
Yeah, my final thought, just excited to see NBA basketball back. I think we'll do something more formal here in the next week or so. But, to get an opening game of the Lakers on the road at the Golden State Warriors to kick it off is big. I mean, I think there's a lot of expectations behind both teams. I think one for repeating as champions, which I think is much more likely than, let's say, the Lakers making a huge push and taking it all the way this year. But just a lot of conflict that we've been, hearing about for both franchises with, you got the Russell Westbrook stuff going on with the Lakers. I'm interested to see how they're going to cope with that. And then, the Draymond Green, Jordan Poole stuff. I mean, hopefully they're able to just, either put this behind themselves and kind of move on for this season, or, kind of make good on what Draymond's been saying about, probably not being able to re-up on a max deal of any kind with Wiggins and Poole both being, paid lately. So we'll see where this goes, but, definitely excited to have NBA basketball back, and definitely looking forward to, reviewing and predicting what's ahead for us in the basketball season.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be exciting. We already talked about our some Draymond news and everything before. So I think going forth, with all the different trades, new faces, and new teams and everything, there'll be a lot to unpack, I think, in the future episode for sure.
Well, sounds good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Give us a like, a comment, subscribe where you're at, and catch us next time here on the Ball and Breakfast podcast with Wayne. I'm Patrick, signing off.